You know what really grinds my gears? ADHD hot takes nobody asked for, but unfortunately, I come across them all the time. Like there I was, peacefully enjoying this video from a creator I adore, when suddenly...
Why are kids killing each other now?
That's a good question.
Okay.
I think it has a combination of a lot of things.
Okay.
Some of them, I think there's a lot more pharmaceuticals. You have a lot of people on Adderall, you have a lot of people on Prozac,
Sure.
These different medications that could affect you.
The biggest cause of gun violence is Ritalin. Duh. Suffice to say, I didn't enjoy the video as much after this random comment, because while it isn't a jab at ADHDers per se, it is yet another reason for people to stigmatize ADHD medication, which famously changed my life, and that of hundreds of thousands of you out there as well. Sure, people abuse medication, they abuse our medication as non-ADHDers, but these stupid comments won't harm them. No, they'll harm me, and you, and the next person who goes into a psychiatrist's office and gets treated as if they're starting the path towards gun violence. Really? I don't know. How do you feel about it? Personally, it infuriates me. It's the equivalent of stigmatizing diabetic medication just because some of the rich people out there abuse it to lose weight. It's not the meds, it's them. And it's always when I'm least expecting it too. Like this OpenAI video commentary.
While the future of the world's possibly most powerful AI company has been in flux, I've been snorting Adderall, scrolling X, and shooting black tar Reuters straight into my one remaining vein.
Isn't he so funny, guys? Because Ritalin is something you snort. And it's basically the equivalent of using X and being on heroin. And I know what he's trying to do. I just don't find it funny or creative.
While Protestant work ethic may still be relevant to the conversation, there are also more contemporary factors at play. After all, we don't mix Red Bull and Adderall to earn God's favor. We just want to make some money.
No, we don't mix Red Bull and Adderall to earn God's favor because it's our freaking medication. Why can't people start making different jokes and examples? Is it that funny? Is it that cool? But then there's also the random neurotypical people addressing the ADHD experience.
Bees are no longer able to survive naturally. It's like the ADHD game where like you go into the kitchen to clean the dishes, but then you realize that you haven't mopped the floor, and then you go into the closet to grab the mop, and then you realize that you haven't organized the closet, so you start reorganizing the closet, but then you realize you forgot about the dishes, and then you turn around and you look at the time and you realize you're late for work. We're shooting ourselves in the foot, making the job twice as hard as it needs to be, and bees are caught in the middle.
Did you see my soul leave my body? It's just like a funny game of ADHD, where life is fucking hard, and you wish you didn't have it. Sure, ADHD can be like that, but our problems have deeply rooted causes, and this type of representation trivializes the actual struggles we face with literally every single thing that we do. ADHDers post such content on TikTok and Shorts all the time. But personally, I wouldn't trust myself to go on a tangent about another person's experience that I don't fully understand. I just don't talk about this stuff. And by the way, I watch these creators. That's how I found the content. It's just these takes. I've been gathering them in a note on my phone because there's always something. There's always something about ADHD in everybody's mind. It happened with these videos that I shared with you previously.
I don't want to be constantly stressed about having even a slightly dull moment in my video to please the ADHD brains of the masses. How far is Jimmy willing to go? Also, how much Adderall does that man take? Oh my God.
That I'm attention deficiency, I'm ADD, ABC, XYZ, so many things.
It's in speed. Maybe you need speed. Maybe you're that person that needs speed. Maybe you do need it legitimately as a medication. But there's a load of people that are just doing speed.
You know, I'm trying to stay calm, but I feel bullied. And I know it's not that deep. They're just saying it. But then there's the parents who should know how to represent their ADHD kids better. But they don't.
They don't have attention deficit disorder, and I'm not going to drug my boys just to make your job easier. I used to run a company with 85 people, and now I can't wrangle 3 small boys without doping them. Talk about feeling like a failure. I love this mug. If I medicate them, are they still going to make me a mug like this?
I made a whole video on the dangers of growing up without proper ADHD therapy and medication, link below. So if you've seen this, you know just how much of an issue it is for a parent to deny their child proper access to treatment. I was watching this video about people who live in a bus, because that's pretty cool. And of course, suddenly, ADHD drops.
Ja, es ist im Endeffekt rausgekommen, dass ihre Reaktion und ihr IQ nicht zusammenpassen. Sie hat ein Defizit in ihrer Aufmerksamkeit und damit man in dieses System passt, muss man dieses Kind anpassen.
It's a long story, but to me, she's reducing ADHD to a failure of the system where the real villain is the system. I mean, there is some truth to that, there is. But unfortunately, this system is also our reality. Sure, you can skip school and do whatever works for you, but the most basic example are cars. The world is full of cars. They're basically a menace on the streets, and anyone with a damaged attention span is in danger. Not to mention addiction, comorbidities, and the million other things that I mentioned in my parenting video. So this mom says she did try medication, but her daughter seemed different and whatnot. So she stopped. Lady, we want to be different. We want to be able to sit down and be serious sometimes too. It's not all about you. And I don't think treatment should necessarily be a parent's personal choice. I don't think it should be left up to emotions. Sadly, this one hit me like a truck, and I didn't expect to find it in that type of video, which is a true crime video by Eleanor Neal.
Kim had the added struggle of having ADHD. She was in a lot of anxiety. She would get very overstimulated in like big crowds and big groups of people. She found school very, very challenging. And she also struggled a lot with the attention deficit side of ADHD. She was very easily distracted in class. So her parents took her to a doctor and she was prescribed some medication that was supposed to help her. She took it for a little while, but her parents said that it just zombied her out. She wasn't the same girl that she was before. She wasn't as bright and enthusiastic. And that was when the decision was made to move Kim out of that school and into a specialist school that could probably help her a lot more than her state school could.
The way that she respectfully, carefully, and kindly told this girl's story should be the norm. It should set the bar for all the rest of these people. But this video really illustrates the dangers of ADHD. The ones that go beyond the trivial crap and society and it's just wrong and broken, but we're not type of thing. The girl in the video is moved to a special school for her actual real-life ADHD struggles, where she gets in with the wrong people and unfortunately loses her life to them. There's a lot of anxiety and low self-esteem and depression and self-harm playing into it, and it's heartbreaking. It's the real life consequences. I know many ADHDers who are just like her, way too kind, not judgmental, not careful enough, just full of love. We're not the best at reading people, and we're so often so self-conscious. We forgive them too much for mistreating us. We need that help and support to know better, especially from parental figures and specialists. Another one, of course, is the Diary of a CEO, with this video that we talked about recently.
ADHD is real, but I have a lot of concerns. 10% of children in the United States are diagnosed with ADHD. In Europe, it's 1%. That's a big red flag. Training a generation to believe that solutions come in pill bottles. We do not weight how dangerous those pills can be. They have consequences. The whole chemical imbalance theory, no psychiatrist will tell you that's true. Scientifically false. Skills before pills. And what I hate about a lot of people in the ADHD community, they feel like it's an identity, and that is so dangerous. We need to look at ADHD as...
Yes, the indistractable guy. That video is linked below as well. I promised I'd make a distractible t-shirt in this dude's honor, and I did. It only took a few months, but I did. It's really cool. It has a label. It's going to be in the shop. But we also have to talk about Gabor Mate, who is really huge on why trauma causes ADHD and is also not a real problem, it's just that the world is a problem.
There's no proof whatsoever that medications help anybody heal from ADHD. Financial stress on the parents translates into physiological stress in the children. Poor kids are much more likely to be diagnosed with ADHD. I'm telling you, if your friend's got ADHD, I can tell you he had a stressed early for years.
His takes are definitely hot, and it's oversimplification, I know, but he also deserves his own video. Thankfully, a true MVP, expert, angel of ADHD, already took that matter into his own hands, and it's Dr. Russell Barkley who recently made this video called Why Dr. Gabor Mate is Worse Than Wrong About ADHD, And I highly, highly recommend it. I wanted to make it myself, but hey, this is even better. He is truly doing God's work. I'm basically allergic to most ADHD content at this point, but let me know how you feel about it. I highly recommend you watch my video on the outcomes of untreated ADHD, or show it to somebody who is carelessly making comments on the internet, and then why everybody has ADHD, which also needs to be talked about. Feel free to subscribe, join my newsletter, or support me below. Thank you so much.